Next, we want to look at how to solve a system of equations using the elimination method. The first step in the elimination method is to line up the variables in both equations so that you have a column with the same variables, so to speak, and line up your equal signs. Secondly, multiply one or both equations by a number so that the coefficients of one of the variables are opposite numbers. In other words, you have one that's a positive and one that's a negative. Add the equations together and solve the resulting equation. After you do that, one of the variables should drop out, and then you have an easier equation to solve. And lastly, just like with the substitution method, we want to write our answer in the form x comma y. So in the first example, to solve this using the elimination method, first thing we need to decide is which variable do we want to get to cancel out. And there's no right or wrong answer, but there will be one that's easier than the other in some cases. Well, notice here that my x's are already opposite signs. So if I multiplied my second equation by 2, that would make this 4x, which would cancel out with the negative 4x. So what we're going to do is multiply that entire second equation by 2. Okay, so let's rewrite both equations. So the first one is staying the same. Negative 4x plus 9y is equal to 1. Now when I multiply my second equation by 2, making sure to distribute, we get 4x plus 6y is equal to a negative 46. Okay, and now we're ready to add our two equations together. So if we did that multiplication step correctly, one of the variables should cancel out, and we see the 4x's do. So now when I add 9y plus 6y, I get 15y is equal to a negative 45. So now our last step is to divide both sides by 15, and we get that y is equal to negative 3. So now we're almost done. Remember, we need to give our answer as a coordinate. So I need to take that negative 3 and figure out what is the x that goes with it. So you can use either equation. I'm just arbitrarily picking the second one. To me, it looks a little bit easier to deal with. And I'm going to plug in that negative 3 for y. So 2 times 3 times negative 3 equals negative 23. I get 2x minus 9 is equal to negative 23. So now what we're going to do is add 9 to both sides, and we get negative 14. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals negative 7. So our answer then for this problem is going to be the point negative 7, comma, negative 3. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Again, we want to solve using the elimination method. So we need to pick which variable do we want to get to cancel out. Well, I'm going to pick y since we already have opposite signs. However, the numbers 2 and 3 are prime. So what is going to be the least common multiple between 2 and 3? It's actually going to be 6. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by 3 and the bottom equation by 2. In the last problem, we only had to multiply one equation, but like you're seeing now, it might be possible that you have to multiply both equations. So I end up with a 9x plus 6y is equal to 9. Again, make sure you distribute. The second equation, we get 4x minus 6y is equal to 2. Okay, and now we're ready to add them together. So our y's cancel out, and I have 13x is equal to 11, dividing both sides by 13, and we have x is equal to 11 over 13. So now we still need to figure out what y is equal to, and I'm going to use my first equation. Since my y value is positive, looks like it might be a little bit easier. So we're plugging in x equals 11/13. So I have 3 times 11 over 13 plus 2y is equal to 3. So I have 33 over 13 plus 2y equals 3, because remember that 3 is really divided by 1. And you multiply fractions straight across. So now I need to subtract 33 over 13 from both sides. And I'm going to use my scientific calculator to do that. So I have 3 minus 33, and I'm pressing my fraction key, 13 equals, and that's going to be 6 over 13. So now my last step is to divide both sides by 2, but since I'm dealing with fractions, it's probably easier to think about as multiplying both sides by 1/2. Because when we multiply by 1/2, 1/2 times 2 is just 1, so I'm left with my y. And then I can see that the 2 and the 6 will cancel out, leaving me with 3 over 13. So we see that our final answer is going to be 11 over 13, comma, 3 over 13.